we are live at our Shiloh, Georgia studio, i.e. the man wing, i.e. the house. We are at my house. We are here with Zach, my boy Chip, talk about beer and headliners. Today we're going to focus more on beer, though. This is episode 2, and we have some special guests. Guys, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
This is Austin from Wildly Brewing Company in LaGrange, Georgia.
And I'm Tyler from Georgia, just Buford, Georgia, just like drinking beer.
All right, this is exciting to have you guys on. We appreciate you coming on, guys. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us on.
I do want to give a quick shout out to our listeners for episode 2. If you guys notice, we actually have real microphones in front of us instead of our phones. Shout out to my music store. I also want to give a shout out to Shure. That's an SM58 microphone that Chip will be talking into today. I got that from Sweetwater. And another neat side note, my Sweetwater sales rep, his name is Matthew Lamash or something like that. When he called me to ask me about my satisfaction, I told him what we were doing, and he's subscribed to the YouTube channel, and he's out of Indiana. So, Matthew, I hope I remember your name right. If you're watching this, thanks, dude. You're the man. Those Laffy Taffies you sent me were great.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into this, guys. So, Austin, tell us a little bit about Wildly.
Yeah, so I work for Wildly Brewing Company in LaGrange, Georgia. We're a brewery that's been around for about 2.5 years. We'll be celebrating 3 years in September. Today we're going to be drinking some of our beer, so I brought some with us. We have our flagship right in front of me, Local Gold. This is the beer that we made for the locals of LaGrange. We wanted a beer that was going to be approachable and an easy transition for your domestic drinkers. You guys are here drinking some Busch. We wanted a beer that's going to be really easy for you to come in and be like, hey, I like Bud Light or Miller Lite or whatever. And what's a good craft option? And Local Gold was to be that gateway beer into the craft options. And so we didn't want to just provide an IPA and be like, here, you're going to love this, because beer drinkers that don't drink craft beer do not like. You don't just punch them in the face with all those flavors. You have to kind of like warm them up to it, or at least really change the mindset, is what I've really seen. So for me, I've been working with Wild Leap since we opened. So I started off as a bartender, so being able to describe these beers to people every day was really important, especially when you get people who come in and say, well, what do you normally drink? And they're like, well, I drink Bud Light. It's like, well, here's Local Gold. You're going to love it. And 9 times out of 10, that is the case. Now I'm a sales rep, and I handle territories in Columbus, LaGrange, Peachtree City, and Auburn, Opelika, and those areas. So.
Okay, so you want to break these open and pass them out to us? So let's try a sip? Or?
Yeah, let's drink some beer.
Okay. Side note for people watching the channel, Austin is also my twin brother. So in case anybody gets confused.
In case anybody didn't already notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody can have a beer. I also have these Wild Leap koozies for the 3 of us that I got from Austin.
Okay.
I'm going to get the pink one.
Hey, red's my favorite color, so Austin, what's the IPA?
So IPA stands for India Pale Ale. Originally, IPA was a term that came from beers that were actually
Give me a
they were beers that were from England. They were getting transported by the India Trading Company, and beers were effectively spoiling. So they found out that hops are actually a really great preservative for beer, and the hops are what give IPAs either that really big citrus grapefruit note, if you're a New England IPA fan, or if you're more of a West Coast fan, they get more of like a resiny kind of pine needle flavor going on. They're usually the body's a lot different. There's a lot more clarity in those beers, where New England styles are a lot hazier. So what I brought today is I actually have more of a New England style, which is kind of really what we stick to, just because they're for the many, and West Coast IPAs are for the real, just IPA geeky nerds.
So Tyler is our beer connoisseur here. Tyler, you want to give us your knee-jerk reaction, first taste of this beer? Do you have one? Where's yours at?
Just easy drinking, like easy step into the craft beer game. Right on par with your Busch Lights, your average lagers. Yeah, just an easy drinking beer, something you could crush all day. No weather brand, like stouts usually tend to be a little bit more of a winter beer. This is like an all season, all everything go.
Awesome. Chip, give me your knee-jerk reaction, because Chip, you really don't drink a lot of craft beer, do you?
Oh, I love craft beer actually, but I guess you could say this is Intermediate beer.
It'd be like an entry beer. So I don't mean that like a level 1 entry, but like a gateway into craft for people who are generally not familiar. So anyone who drinks domestic beers frequently. So like you've got, everybody has that person that they're just like, I only drink Bud Light. I only drink Miller Lite. But they go somewhere, they travel, and they want to try a local option. But you wouldn't give them something like an IPA because it's not going to be what they're already familiar with. You want to kind of keep it in the realm of what they're used to.
Zach, what do you think, man? You drink you like a lot of Busch Light, so how's this?
Yeah, I'm pretty well known for liking the light beers, the AKA NASCAR sodas. But Wild Leap Local Gold, something I've had several times before. Obviously, it's a local beer. I've had my dabble in it. It's a much lighter option when you're looking for something to switch it up from like a light beer. If you don't want that typical just no flavor taste of a light beer that I am so fond of, then
sparkling water with hops.
Yeah, sparkling water with hops. You know, this is a very good like transition beer. I feel I've said that about this one, and unfortunately, we don't have today the Chance IPA that they offer. Is a very good transitional beer for anybody trying to look to get into the IPA game or just more craft beers.
Yeah, our mission kind of as a whole was to make beers that were approachable, even when they sound insane. You know, like we have the Truck Chaser Orange Creamsicle that we're going to drink today, and that sounds crazy. It's Orange Creamsicle double IPA. But really, it's super easy drinking. A lot of these breweries are in a competition to just make the world's most bitter IPA, and we don't want to do that. You know, we want juicy, citrus-forward, easy drinking. I mean, and I'm probably going to say that a lot today, so I'm going to apologize now.
Juicy!
But just to break it down on Local Gold real quick, we're going to be really specific for a second. This is actually like if you had a hybrid beer between a German Kolsch and an English bitter, but if at the end of the day it's an American-style blonde ale. That's kind of how we're really going to bring it down and talk about it. But, I mean, again, it's an ale versus a lager, which domestic beers are all lagers, but that just comes down to fermentation and yeast at the end of the day, for breaking it down really simply.
Well, we're going to get into a headliner real quick. There's nothing better than beer and headlines. So we're going to get into that for a second. So Jim has got his phone out. He's got a headline that we're going to read. And what we're going to do, guys, as our guests, what we like to do is we're going to give a knee-jerk reaction opinion based solely off the headline. Because here at Beer and Headliners, we feel that depending on where you believe the headline to be from will change your opinion from headline to headline to headline. So Jim is going to read one off. He's going to source it, and then we'll talk about it for a little bit. And then we'll get into the article, and it's fun to see how off we are.
So this is from Fox News website. Marissa Schultz is the author, and the headline is Trump furious. Americans infected with coronavirus flew back to U.S. without his permission. Now, a little bit more about that. You know, Trump was furious that 14 Americans infected with the coronavirus returned to the United States without his permission, rather than remain in quarantine overseas, according to a new report. Now, what do you guys think about that?
Let's start with Mr. Tyler. We'll work our way around.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like, how badly do you need to get back to America? Like, do you need to save your cat? Like, I'm sure there's somebody that's going to be able to watch your cat for you. You could save the nation some trouble and just kind of hang out. You know, just because you're sick doesn't mean you can't go sightseeing.
Let's be honest. They're not going to come home and then return to work with the coronavirus. that's a doctor's note, automatic 10-day suspension from work. No one wants you there. I don't know. I don't know what the process is for screening for sick people flying in the United States. I mean, dude, I guess the background I'd want to know is, did they know they had the coronavirus? Did they think it was just a head cold? I mean, what did they know before entering the country? But off the top of my head, just listening to the headline, I mean, if I was in Mexico and had the coronavirus, you know, as long as Mexico's got good health care, I guess, you know, which I don't think they do. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that that's not one of their golden attributes is healthcare. So I don't know. I guess as someone concerned for my own health, I would want to get back home. But I don't know.
Yes, I'm sticking with it too. I would hate to be stuck in China.
Yes.
I just would
Glad someone brought that up.
I just hate to be stuck in China. So, I probably just want to get home so I can get seen about. The best doctors, the best care. So it seems like obviously the coronavirus has been around for a little bit now. So I guess it is a major threat to all of us and around the world since they can't contain it. I think the death toll around 2,000.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Is there a way we can Google that?
Yeah, I think
We're
around 2,000.
2,000 and,
We are far pressed into the millions.
The death toll is 2,100 as of yesterday, is what I read. That's worldwide. I think there's been 18 cases in Taiwan. The majority has been in China, and there's been a scattered few through like cruise ships, because there was a cruise ship that had a few Americans on it. Canadians that sailed out of Japan and actually contracted the coronavirus. But that's what this article is really talking about, is some of those people were sent back here without having to do the Canadian quarantine as well as the U.S.
So I guess my question would be, if I was to have a sit-down conversation with Trump just based off the headline, what are they supposed to do? Like, if I was someone who felt like I've contracted the coronavirus, and it was even a thought, I wasn't sure. Like, there's one place I'd want to be, it'd be in America, at home, because we have the best health care. You catch that shit in Mexico, chances are you're not gonna make it, because the health care is so much worse. No matter where you're at, even in Canada, who's got socialized health care, you don't know how long you're gonna wait to get seen. I mean, it would be pretty scary to have a new disease and to be in another country, and not even really know if you have it, and then to be told you can't come back. Like, as a U.S. citizen, had I gone to visit another country and then wanted to re-enter our country, knowing I was sick, I would do whatever it took to get back to this country to make sure that I was going to get the best health care that I could get so that I could be on my family. So, not to knock on our president, God bless him, pray for him every day, but that's a pretty cold thing to say, and I guess you got to be a little cold-hearted to make tough decisions like that, but the least we could do is, if you're an American citizen and you left this country and you came back with a potential unknown disease, I would want to be in this country where I knew I'd get the best health care.
I guess to interject real quick.
You're not allowed to interject. This isn't that kind of show.
Oh, okay. Not that kind of show. Keep your opinions to yourself. I'd like to politely disagree. No.
Nah, we won't have any of that around here.
You can disagree. You can disagree.
I guess in defense of Trump is his concern over a virus like the coronavirus would have to be more based on one person bringing in a virus that can infect millions versus, it's
selfish.
I understand.
I guess so, yeah.
It's like going to work when
call.
you know you're sick and you get everybody else sick.
Yeah.
The right thing to do is to call out, but you want to go to work because you got to make money.
Yeah.
You got to get paid. I understand where he's coming. I understand. But for me, I think as a U.S. citizen, we should be allowed back under quarantine, services or whatever they got to do, however they have to be screened. That's fine. But you're really going to tell American citizens that they have to suffer through Chinese quarantine? Really?
Did you say it was Chinese quarantine or Canadian quarantine?
He said that they should have. The headline, I think he said, had to remain under quarantine where they contracted the disease.
So this I asked who?
So what the cruise liner people had to do is go through a Japanese quarantine, and then they would be flown back to Canada for a Canadian quarantine, and then come to the U.S. But a lot of people were able to skip that because they weren't infected, and they were still released back. And I think that some have been shown as infected now.
Do we know that you can be contagious without being infected?
The incubation period, they don't know. I think they don't know whether or not you contract like 20. It can be like 28 days before, a month before the symptoms actually start showing up. So
you could get like all the way into the country before weeks go by before you realize anything's even wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's what I had to ask about these 14 people, is how infected were they, and at what point in the disease or whatever sickness are they? How do we know they are infected now that they're back? And how do you know that there aren't hundreds of other people that have come in and haven't shown symptoms yet that have flown from outside the country? I mean, there's really no way to quarantine viruses nowadays, realistically.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie Quarantine? They could do it.
I mean, they tried in Bubble Boy as well.
Bubble Boy.
I think that was just more like an angry mom thing.
Jim, let's read the article. I want to see how off or how on we are.
Alrighty, so I'm going to pick up down here. While the Americans evacuated from the ship were on buses in the tarmac in Tokyo, so they were sent to Japan.
Okay.
Officials got the results back that 14 had tested positive for COVID-19, the coronavirus, but had yet shown symptoms. Officials made the decision to have them flown home anyway, but isolated from other passengers on the plane. I mean, it's an airplane. How isolated
Is it airborne? So is it contracted via airborne?
I'm not entirely sure. Let's keep reading here. The infected passengers were to be isolated for medical care upon arriving back in the U.S. Every precaution to ensure proper isolation and community protection has been taken. The viral outbreak that had begun in China has spread to nearly 78,000 people globally, including 76,000 in mainland China. Here are the latest figures on the number of people who have the coronavirus. So you got 76,000 mostly in the Hubei province in China, and then it goes on to list the deaths and cases. But it doesn't say whether it's airborne or passed from person to person.
Interesting. Terrible. So do we know specifically how many people China's quarantined?
Didn't they quarantine like the whole city?
A big thing that we should also recognize is that China is not letting us know about anything that's going on in China.
Oh yeah, that's for sure too.
Like everything that we know is just slipping through the cracks. So like the full extent of what's going on over there is to be determined.
I have a theory on that. Go ahead, Jim.
There was an article that I read a few days ago because I've been following this, and it said that you know how prisons, they can build them kind of like building blocks. They just
They
come
built
in
a hospital in days.
Yeah, exactly.
Building
And
crematoriums.
those hospitals are, for lack of a better word, like just death sites. You know, like it's a prison for the sick, and because they don't know what to do with these people.
Yeah.
They contracted several out of the Wuhan city mobile crematoriums for pets
Oh my goodness.
to come into Wuhan
I did hear
for
one.
whatever reason.
I did hear one interesting theory on this, and I have no idea how accurate this is. So this is definitely a shot off the hip. I did hear, this is a conspiracy, that China was quarantining these people in an attempt to tank the American economy, because if people follow the American economy and our debt, we owe China a lot of money. But so the theory is that when China, and if you pay attention to the Dow at all, the Dow dropped 600 and 700 points once China quarantined all these people, because these people can't go to work. It affected the company I work for, because some of our parts and some of our models come out of China. We can't get them right now. So it's a total conspiracy theory. So viewers, just know that I don't know that I think this or not, but it's something to think about. Because Zach's right, we're getting from China is through the cracks. I highly doubt China is operating under full transparency with this.
So what are you saying about the coronavirus?
I don't know. I think
It's
you get
a
it from
threat.
drinking Coronas.
It could be a threat.
I heard it comes from bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
Yep. That's where they make it over in China, and I think that's one of the theories that people have been floating around.
Yeah.
Is that it comes
Because the air is so bad.
Well, they use like it's a big factory pump. I'd imagine they just seal it off, hot seal or giant bag of air.
Yeah. So Macy and I were reading this the other day, and they say that they got it from a bat. Is another thing I heard.
Soup.
Yeah, bat soup. So the Chinese have these wild game markets where they eat game in the market on the spot. They do as much as skinning dogs alive, eating the bat soup. They put the bat in the soup alive, and they gut it, and its entrails are in the soup, and that's how you eat the soup. And that's what they're saying, how they contracted. It's pretty brutal and inhumane, in our society, in our culture. But they say that's how it started. But you know, I still think Zach makes a good point. It's hard to figure out what's going on. Oh, bat soup sounds amazing.
Well, since we're on the topic of delicious things, I just read an article here. The headline is "A popular summer beer made in Georgia is back." Here's where to find it in Macon. We don't need to know anything about Macon, but what we do need to know about is this Wild Leap Truck Chaser Creamsicle Double IPA, and we have the man to tell us all about it.
Yeah,
Let's
this
hear
one's
about
gone,
some
so I'm
beer.
ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for
My first one's gone, so
Can you tell me
It's
a
about
little
to
bit
be.
more about your class? What was it?
Talking about the Cicerone.
Yeah.
So, in the wine community, wine has sommeliers, which are, I guess, like certified, I guess, experts to a degree. In the beer community, we have Cicerones, and there's 4 levels of being a Cicerone. I am a Cicerone certified beer server, which to get that, when you get it, you get like a little pin and a patch and kind of a certificate. But essentially, you take a 60-question test that you have 30 minutes to take. You actually get 2 attempts, but you have to make a 70 or above. And you can't really open note or open book take this test. It is not, for people who are outside of the industry especially, not an easy test.
is it multiple choice?
It is multiple choice. Yes, it's multiple choice. When I took it, I think I got a 93 or a 94.
Is it a state test or is it?
No,
it
Cicerone is a
Private.
private thing. Yeah, it's not run by the state.
Okay.
And it's up to you as an individual, I guess, to get that certification or not. You know, as a company, Wildly wanted us to do that and pursue it. And then we're all welcome to pursue the next level if we want to. So it goes with the entry certified beer server. And then you have being a certified Cicerone, which that, from my understanding, is like a 4-hour exam with tastings, beer pairings. You have to be able to identify off flavors in beer. A lot of which I've done some studying for because I would love to pursue it and to continue to increase knowledge and certifications because it makes me sound smarter than I am, which is great.
Isn't that the goal?
That's the goal. Yeah, I'm all about the image.
All about the image.
But then after that, you've got advanced Cicerones and then master Cicerones, which from my understanding, there's only a couple hundred master Cicerones in the whole country. You know,
Really?
It's not a lot. There's a whole lot of certified Cicerone beer servers. Like, not a huge thing. But even to be a certified Cicerone, I think there's a couple 100,000.
Is that recognized nationally or just?
I don't know if Cicerone's an international program or not. I'm going to go ahead and say probably because Belgium and Germany are such big beer countries. And a lot of what we do with American craft, especially in the sour scene, is most of it influenced.
Emulate a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
so even like when you're drinking sour beers in America, so like Berliner Weisses and Gozas are German. Those are, and even if it's the American version of that, those originally are German beers. And then when we're drinking the American Wild Ale, that's essentially our slap at like lambics and Belgian gooses.
So we got these truck chasers, man. We have 4 truck
Yeah.
chasers, but there are 5 of us.
You guys can drink one.
So there's 6 of us, including Jim. So
Jim goes with that.
oh
shit.
god,
Open that
we
one
can't drink that one. Open it last. So we're gonna split these in these little cups. We have these little solo cups. We're gonna split these so everybody can try one, and if somebody wants one, then we'll give it away.
Open it again.
Hold on, don't open that one. We'll just split it out of this one.
It's too late.
What are we doing?
I cracked this.
So we're gonna split it because we only have 4. There's 6 of us.
Use the red cup.
Yeah, use these red little solo cups, Jim, or pink.
I
Is that
already
pink or
opened it.
red?
I'm just gonna open it.
Are we
I already
pouring it
spilled
in there? 'Cause I
Yeah.
already took a sip.
Well, you just drink that.
So Truck Chaser is while they're pouring it, is a series beer where we've done multiple versions. The very first version we did was the Truck Chaser Orange Creamsicle, so that's how the article reads. It's back because this is actually the first time we've relaunched or re-released one of our limited beers. So the second version was the Truck Chaser Bomb Pop. So like the red, white, and blue rocket pops, we were trying to capture raspberry, lime, and what was it? Raspberry, lime, and cherry flavors. So, and essentially it was almost like if you melted a bomb pop and then put it in beer. So you get kind of all those flavors at once. And then after that we did the strawberry eclair, or like the strawberry crunch bars was the last one. And it was freaking awesome. Both of those beers, all 3 of these beers, are some of my favorite beers ever. So milkshake IPAs, it's what this is essentially. They're gonna have lactose in them. So that's what's going to give them kind of that more milky, kind of creamier mouthfeel, and also sweetens them up on the back end. But
That's awesome. All right, Tyler, start us off, man. What you think of this?
Oh, hold on, I gotta try it.
Down it.
Allergy alert, there is dairy in these beers.
If you're lactose intolerant, do not drink this. Or do, it's at your own risk, though. These statements have not been.
These are not FDA
Yeah,
approved.
these are not FDA approved.
So yeah, it definitely, you can definitely get the creaminess from the lactose. It's what's the percentage on it?
Truck Trace is going to come in at 8.1%.
Okay, so it's up there for sure. Yeah, it follows the style of the New England the New England like taste profile as far as IPAs go. A little bit more on the juicier side, and the cream comes in on the finish. Very nice.
Juicy, too. I like my beer like I like my women.
juicy.
Chip, how you feel about that, man?
I feel pretty good. But what's a double IPA?
So double IPAs, if we're being really simple about it, on paper, it's elevated alcohol content and double dry hopping. So just think like if you took an IPA and put it on steroids, you get more alcohol, more hop aroma, more hop flavor. And essentially, that's very simply putting it, but just so everybody can kind of understand, that's the gist. There's even, as the alcohol gets more elevated, you can have triple and quadruple IPAs. I had a quadruple IPA on tap at Auburn Draft House the other day. I don't remember what it was called, and it was 13.9% alcohol, and it was a West Coast IPA out of California, and I cannot remember what it was called, but it was a quadruple IPA. It was just,
Yeah.
At some point, it just
Quadruple.
yeah.
Good God. Zach, how you feel about this, man? You just took the whole can and dove right into it.
Yeah, well, I guess everybody here is really sensitive to mouth germs, so yeah, it's very
We
good.
brought the solo cups. We had to use it, and we did just talk about the coronavirus. So.
It's okay. We gonna
Wash your
die.
hands.
We all gonna die. If the coronavirus gets here to Shiloh, then that's his problem.
if he dies, he dies.
All 500 people.
If he dies, he dies.
All 500 people.
Beer though, very good, creamy, a little bit bitter for my taste personally, but I do like it. It's very good. The citrus notes are definitely there. It's a little bit less carbonated than like your typical NASCAR sodas, or a lot of the Wild Leap beers are that way though. A little bit less carbonated, heavier. I know most all the beers y'all do are unfiltered, if I'm not mistaken. But I do like it.
Yeah,
It's
so
very creamy.
filtering is a different beast for our beers because we're trying to maintain that haziness and kind of that mouthfeel, but none of our stuff is filtered.
So I'm kind of biased. This is actually my favorite IPA. I love these. They are like, if I could describe them in one word, it would be smooth. It's an incredibly smooth IPA, and the goal for these was to taste like a orange creamsicle, and they taste like an orange creamsicle. But they're not as sweet. It's like, I don't know. It's my favorite IPA.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
if
biased.
you melted an orange creamsicle in an IPA. So you still it's still definitely a beer. It's a double IPA for sure, hands down. And you get that up front. Those citrus, like orange citrus notes, blend really well with those hoppy aromas, those citrus notes we get from the hops. And the warmer the beer gets too, the more of that orange you're gonna get.
Yeah.
The strawberry eclair was really that way. It was just, you got some light strawberry hints with a big hop note on the front, and then as it got room temperature, it was like all candied strawberry. It was awesome.
Yeah, this is an awesome IPA.
Would you suggest drinking this at room temperature?
Well, with craft beer in general, we recommend serving temperature to be 38 degrees, roughly. In different beers, as you get into it, there's cellar temperature, which is like 58 degrees, I think. I could be off on that, but then room temperature, which essentially we're recommending about 68, 70 degrees. So it's up to you. It's not a freaking rule. Like, you can drink whatever freaking temperature you want, but ideally, the warmer the beer gets, the more aroma, the more flavor you're getting, the more they open up, especially in beers like this, and really, really when you get into stouts.
Next time we do cigars on the show, we have to have you on about cigars too, because you're pretty knowledgeable about cigars as well, correct?
I know enough to smoke and have a conversation about it.
I tell you what.
Because I've just learned from other people
Oh yeah,
who like them a lot more than I do. So
rock on. Jim, are you looking at the next headliner for us? Rock on. You about ready?
Rock on.
Yes, sir. We're going to go local on this one. The headline is the Juicy Seafood Restaurant in Columbus responds to allegations of card fraud.
What's the name of this restaurant?
The Juicy Seafood.
Juicy. That's the name of the restaurant. Where is it at? What street's it on?
It is on, I believe, Whittlesey and is it Bradley Park?
Bradley
Is it
Park.
Whittlesey or is it Veterans Parkway? What did it open up at?
It's on Veterans near Whittlesey, right? I'm not from here, y'all
I
know.
haven't been there.
It's something better
It's brand new though, isn't it?
with a big chop top.
I'm just saying. I'm not surprised.
Well, our boy Tyler's from Buford, but Tyler, off the headline, how you feel about that?
I'm more curious as to how they did it. Did they get the receipt paper and like scrub in on people's cards, or is this like, are we talking like internet espionage, like sitting on a computer and clicking on a keyboard? And
It's not that complicated nowadays.
I mean,
you just
yeah.
take a picture.
That's true. I mean, everybody does have iPhones.
I guess I want to know, like,
Team Android.
how do you as a restaurant commit? What do you say, credit card fraud? How do you as a restaurant commit credit card fraud? Are you, because you have to be as a restaurant purchasing under false premises. So is a fraud from like their vendors, like whoever they're buying the food from, and they're like, oh yeah, send us food, we have the money, and then oh no, we don't.
I
How'd that
imagine.
work out?
I imagine the credit card fraud comes from servers and complaints on tickets. Of
I could see
being
that.
double charged, over tipped.
Mhm.
Yeah, I imagine that's got to be where this comes from.
I generally would think that's coming from staff versus employers.
So you think what the servers are like? The tip says $8, and they just put that one in front of it, and now it's $18,
I mean,
or
It could be that simple, or they could just be like, again, taking pictures of the credit cards and then using them for whatever
really?
Yeah,
benefit they
if-
need.
If
you
you've
know?
got all the front numbers and then the back, and you get the CVC number on the back and everything, then yeah, absolutely, it would be super simple to have credit card fraud and just make a phone call to, or if you want to just order stuff online, just go to Aeropostale and do an order online. All you gotta do, or whatever your favorite online store is.
Yeah, but
eBay.
credit cards are so easy to dispute. Like, I can call my credit card company, depending on the size of the purchase, be like, yeah, I didn't buy that, and they'll probably put my money back on my card, even if I bought that. You know,
Well, a lot
credit-
of
they're pretty easy
companies
to
have
dispute.
no, like, whatever, 100% customer satisfaction. Like, no matter what, they'll give
Yeah.
it to you. No disputes.
yeah, no disputes, really.
Somebody steal it.
Alright, well, here's what the article said. So, our previous restaurateurs pretty much nailed it. The Juicy Seafood Restaurant in Columbus is responding to accusations of credit card fraud. In a Facebook post, the restaurant said, a designated cashier manager will handle all transactions. The Juicy Seafood also has a cash reward for any customer with proof of credit card fraud. The restaurant says if anybody can bring the proof in, they'll give them a reward, $100 or a $200 gift card.
About the money that they had taken from them. Is that good enough? They won't refund that?
So the allegations are that servers were taking pictures of credit cards,
Wow, spot on.
but
Good job, Zach.
nobody's been able to prove it. So, you know, it's in Columbus. We've all been to Columbus. We've all eaten in Columbus. It's very possible that somebody is taking pictures of cards, but it's also possible that the customer is wrong. That's a common
yeah,
misconstruction
definitely.
in American society.
Someone who operated restaurants in Columbus, a $5 million restaurant, mind you. I've never experienced that, ever. You know, but does not say it doesn't happen. I think some POS systems are probably easier to get one over on, or to take the picture, as you said, or as the article said. Probably easier to do it depending on the restaurant, and that sounds like it's probably a privately, like, individual owned restaurant. It's not corporate or franchised. It's probably a lot
Corporate.
easier to.
It's
Is it
very
corporate?
minor corporate, though.
A small, real
It's a
small,
very small corporate.
kind of like Locos was.
more
Locos
of
was
a
real small.
more of a franchise, not really. I wouldn't even say corporate. More of a franchise, like probably privately owned every business. You know?
So is it private franchise
I mean, it's
or
a
corporate?
franchise. It's like franchise
It's a big
business. Like there are a lot of Juicy Seafoods, but they're all
okay.
privately owned.
I never. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. Is why I say that.
So they're franchised out kind of deal.
Pretty much, yeah. Like they're all privately owned by a franchise owner.
Yeah.
Just to tell you from my experience in the service industry, there are definitely servers. I mean, they would pull that over on anybody. Like,
Oh, I believe it.
I don't know if you remember
Don't say
when
anything.
we were waiting tables, we had a employee who, if I remember the story correctly, she was taking care of a guest, and the guest essentially left money on the table to pay for their ticket. And at this restaurant in particular, you have to take your check to the front and pay at a cash register so that you pay it. The servers do not handle that money. But essentially, they left the money on the table to pay for their check, and they left. And what they're supposed to do is the server's supposed to grab a manager and say, hey, my guest left the money on the table. Can you close the check for me? But what happened, and I could be remembering this incorrectly.
This happens a lot, though. You're talking about people when they just take that money. Oh, they
They
walked
just
out on the check.
Took the money. Yeah, she took the money and
that
said the
actually
table
happens
walked
a
out on the
lot.
check. Yeah, but
So
she got caught. She was terminated.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, terminated immediately.
And I think that was the scenario. It was either that or it was a guest that she was friends with. And
Chip, you guys would have promoted that employee, right?
It's a manager.
so it's not surprising me that a server would go as far as taking a picture of someone's
Oh yeah, but it's so much easier to just swipe cash. Oh wait, we ready for a mystery shot? Is it time
It's time for a mystery
for
shot.
our viewers? Go ahead, Chip. Go ahead.
What is
Never
this?
leave your car unattended. Ever.
Never leave your cash or card unattended. So for our viewers who are listening and aren't watching, every show we do a mystery shot, and Jim provides the mystery shot. This is a clear liquid. We always like to guess what this is. I have no idea. I'm gonna go. It looks like tequila based off the bottle. I
That's what
don't know.
thinking.
Somebody smell it.
It seems like my kind of thing. A little Mexican cowboys like flair.
Oh
You know, like smell like some Mexican
Tyler,
cowboy
you got
in
something you
there.
want to say? I can tell you. You're sitting
I just want to say I already know what it is, so I'm not
Oh,
going
you're not gonna take a swig?
participate.
I'm
In,
not-
no,
yeah.
I'm gonna take a shot.
We doing swigs or shots? How are we doing this?
I don't know. It says Pirates Water on the back, so I'm already like, oh god.
So probably some sort of Caribbean rum. I'd
Oh yeah,
imagine.
that's definitely rum.
It looks better. With it. I like the duct tape. It's a nice like little flair.
Woo, sweet.
Are we supposed to pour shots?
No, we
no,
just
it
take out
smells
the
like I
bottles
can
and-
smell like an essence of coconut. I don't know if y'all missed that, but
Just for our viewers, so they know, I don't mix
it smells
alcohol
pretty
well.
good, actually.
A couple gulps, huh?
Yeah, it's chugging. Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's an essence of coconut in it. It's got to be something like that. Some sort of like fruit,
Zach just
like
took that
fruit
like a
nose.
Zach can drink. He's a professional drinker.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
tell
a
you.
professional alcohol salesman once again. That means I sell you guys drinks professionally as a bartender.
So,
God.
so basically, you're a bar. Basically, he means bartender.
Yes, professional.
Oh, we got a bartender.
Exactly.
Hey, Jim, what is that? I don't even want to guess.
It's pretty good. I like it actually.
Oh yeah, it's like a
It is a
Pretty smooth.
key lime pie rum.
I could definitely taste the key lime there.
I've never had.
It's probably
pie.
it's probably the notes of flavor I'm talking about.
It's not that good. No,
So
it's not good.
this is actually an import from Florida.
Everything from Florida's imported.
Anything
Okay.
from Florida.
When I was down in Tampa, I went to a new startup distillery called Gasparilla's Rummery, and that's what I came home with. It probably wasn't the best decision to get that one because it's not great.
I
I didn't think it was
I
bad.
really liked it.
It's strong.
Actually,
Apparently, it's really good with Sprite.
It was smooth. It was smooth though. I say it was smooth.
I really like this actually.
I can definitely
I
get
drank
some-
rum for a while actually. I quit beer for like a year and I drank rum only. I really like this.
Yeah, you drank it like you really liked it, but I definitely get like
I really like the smell and like essence of like flavor to it.
Yeah, I
It's
get-
like it's definitely not a regular liquor.
yeah, I get that kind of coconutty, but I also get like a lot of like a graham cracker in there too, almost.
Yeah, you can definitely you get the pie crust in there for sure. And
I do like it.
It's kind of grainy even with the pie crust. You know?
we started off when we had this. We were already a little pretty drunk when we decided that it was the one to be chosen, and it I feel like it's only good when you've had a couple drinks in you, if you start off with this, it's gonna be
Oh, is
pretty
it
rough
worse?
for
'Cause
you.
I just finished my second, so that's probably why I didn't make his face.
It it definitely goes down a little easier.
Well, can we go ahead and reveal what it is? Because I want to know. Personally.
Show us the label.
Anybody want a drum roll?
Unduct tape it.
Nobody can hear that.
It is.
Gasparilla Scurvy Lime.
You're not talking to the mic, bro.
It is Gasparilla's Scurvy Lime Rum.
I like it.
Hmm.
So it's
Do you
not
like it?
only alcohol; it's medicine. We're
Can cure scurvy.
yeah, we're no longer
That
scared.
has a little bit of vitamin C in there.
Yeah, it does have an aftertaste.
Yeah, the burp is all vanilla and coconut.
Rock on. Austin, you brought one more beer for us today, right?
Yeah, this one's probably my favorite one. This is pretty special.
This is a new beer?
Yeah, this one's brand new.
Yeah, man.
It just came out. I think we just launched this last week, so we're still getting it on their orders this week. Yeah, if you want to pass that out, Jim.
Just going to pass these out for us
Yeah.
for those that are listening and that are not watching.
This is called Three Harvest. It's another double IPA, but I'm actually going to read off the label on the can for this one. Yeah, so this is Three Harvest. It's a really limited one that we just released, just went in the market last week. It is a fresh hop double IPA, and what that means is these were actually dry hopped with fresh whole cone hops that were harvested just days before. So I'll actually read off the back of the can a little bit about this one. Three Harvest is our collaboration with Extreme Hops, and this beer is an off-season fresh hop double IPA that features hydroponically grown Cascade hops that were harvested days before this ale was brewed. So basically what that means is for off-season hydroponically grown hops, Cascade hops are out of season right now.
Say that word one more time. Hydroponically?
They were grown hydroponically.
What does that mean?
I don't know anything about it.
Chip, you know about it, right?
Yeah, you can chime in with that one.
Okay. Hydroponics is a self-sustainable growth system where the tank is fed through nutrients from the tank and it's feed through a filter.
So it's fed through a filter. You want
Fish can be involved in that too, right?
Well, yeah,
Like
aquaponics.
that's
But
aquaponics.
Is a system where the water and you use certain grow mediums, rocks, sand, and with the grow medium, it would basically just grow in a greenhouse. It can be grown year round.
Yeah, in much more stable conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it's hydroponic.
meaning
Hydro
kind
meaning
of-
water.
yeah.
Good job, Zach. Good job, Zach.
You kind of put it on the
It's-
spot. I couldn't think of
it's like,
exactly what it is.
It's kind of like it's like a nutrient flush system, and there's like a water obviously is in the name, so it's kind of heavily involved in the project. But
Right.
I think it's like a balance of, it's just not like line-fed nutrients into the water that cycles and then gets filtered
Mhm.
through and through over and over again.
So this is a new beer. It's my first time trying it. I got to be honest with you, Austin. I like the Truck Chaser more, but it is. I mean, it's a. If you like IPAs, this is a IPA. So
This is probably my favorite one.
you like that
I
one more
love
than you
this
like
beer.
the Truck Chaser?
I think this one you get more of that
Three
kind of.
is my favorite number. So
Three's your favorite number.
I
All
thought
right,
you were
thanks,
referring
Dale.
to like album
Got the
traction.
hat. Got the hat.
No, yeah, this is there's no lactose in this. This is not a milkshake IPA. It's just a standard double IPA. Comes in at 8.2% alcohol.
8.2% alcohol.
8.2%.
God Almighty.
a
But
lot
to
of
me, this one you
fruits.
definitely get more of those almost floral notes, and I guess it's just from the freshness of the hops.
Mhm.
Most breweries are going to use hop pellets, and the reason for that is because hop pellets are going to yield more consistent flavors, and they're also a lot easier to clean. They just kind of break down and dissolve a little bit, whereas actual whole hop whole cones are very sticky, and they have oils in them, so they're a little bit more difficult to clean, and they don't always yield as consistent as flavors. We measure a lot of hop output with alpha acids, so there can be some inconsistencies there. But with this one, I mean, it really came out really well. The guy who grows these hops did a phenomenal job. And this beer came out really great.
Let's give this guy a shout out real quick. So good job, guy. Whatever your name is.
His name is. I don't know if I can say it, so I'll
Don't
keep
say
it-
his name if
I'll
you don't
keep
think
it
you
to
can.
ourselves.
Yeah, if you're not sure.
What a guy.
What a guy.
He's
Quite
a
a
very
guy.
nice guy. I did a beer dinner where we did a beer pairing
I
at
have
a
not
restaurant
met him.
in downtown Auburn called The Hound.
Mhm.
And they did a full 4-course meal where we had kind of like appetizer, 2 entrees and dessert, and we did beer pairings for everything. And we did this as a surprise entry kind of at the end where he was there, and it was the first time he'd had it. And I mean, they were really excited about the beer, so it really turned out well. It was a really cool experience, and I think this is a great double IPA. I think as far as people who make double IPAs in the business, I think we rank definitely among the best in the country,
Yeah. Well,
in my opinion.
I've really enjoyed all the beers you've brought today. I hope everybody else has. It goes without saying, but we'll say it anyways. Really appreciate you two coming on today. It's been a great time. Been a great episode 2. We've had some interesting headlines. We got some neat stuff coming to you next week. Look at this camera over here since the other one malfunctioned. We got some really neat stuff coming to you guys next week. We'll have some more exciting guests on, and we'll talk about some more exciting stuff. And as always, we'll do it like true Americans with a beer in our hand.